Evening, welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and we're happy to have you with us on the program tonight. We have a phone number up there, as we always do. There it is. You can call us at that number. You can also email us at keneckleslive at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way, by phone, excuse me, or by email. Have a question, first of all, about the NASCAR contest. Of course, it's not a sports talk show or a sports show of any kind, and I think we all understand that, but we'll answer this question in just a second. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. Caller?
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air. Okay. And now you're off the air. Let's try this one. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. Okay. 0 for 2. Somebody else want to try? There's the phone number right up there that you can call. You could be the first person to call and actually have something to say tonight. If you want to take that opportunity, there it is. Anyway, the email is, Ken, I'm interested in your NASCAR contest. I believe you have 14 people participating. Actually, we had 15 in this most recent segment. Let's try the phone again. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, are you talking? I can't hear you. Hello?
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 Hello? All right. Well, I'm beginning to realize that callers cannot hear me. That's a problem. Hello? Hello, caller? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Well, I guess something's wrong. Hello, you're on the air. All right. I'm going to have to do something here. Why don't we shut this down? Let's just shut down the phone and then restart. Often that helps. So let's try that this time. Let's see, we'll do this and we'll do this. All right. Now that ought to work. Ought to work. If somebody wants to call now, somebody call again right now, and let's see if we have corrected this problem. Because if we haven't corrected this problem, then we have a pretty serious situation here. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello. You're on the air. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Okay. That didn't work. Okay, what else can we try? Caller, hello? Do you hear me? Hello, hello?
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 Hello, Ken?
Yes. All right. Let me look over here. And, I'm not going to answer that right yet because it's not going to work. That is right. And this is right. And that is right. So what the heck is the problem? Caller, can you hear me? Nope. Nope. Okay. Go look somewhere else. To open up the settings here. Don't mind me, folks, while I work on this. We're just having fun here. I know I am. Change this. And let's change that. And let's change this. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello. Well,
Hello?
that didn't help either. Okay, what else can I change? All right. Martinsville, if you're listening, Martinsville, I hope you're listening. Martinsville, can you just put something on while I restart my computer? I think I need to restart my computer, Martinsville. So if you can just get something on the air just for the time it takes me to restart my computer and reload all this stuff, then we might be okay. So I hope Martinsville is listening. Okay, we have restarted the computers and done all sorts of incredibly complex technical things. Um, and now we just need some good luck. So there's a phone number up there. If somebody wants to be a test caller, give us a call right now at that phone number and we'll find out what we're going to have. Um, it's a wondrous and incredible and sometimes hard to understand existence that we lead here on different ends of this cable. But let's try. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Can you hear me? Hello, caller. Well, that didn't work. That didn't work, did it? Well, I'm out of ideas. As I sit here, all the settings are where they have always been. And we've restarted the computer. So I'm stumped. If somebody wants to email me the solution to this problem, then I would appreciate it. But as we sit here right now, it looks like we're just not going to have the phone tonight. And I don't think there's much to be gained by my continuing to change settings, which are exactly where they're supposed to be. So, caller, I don't think it's going to work unless you can hear me right now. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Caller, you can't hear me. Caller.
Hello?
Okay, sorry. All right, phone's not going to work, folks. So that's where we are. No phone. It's a call-in show without a phone, but we do have emails. So I'll just go ahead and read that email that I started to read all that long time ago before we knew the phone was not going to work. The emailer says, Ken, I have a question about your NASCAR contest and how many participate. It's 15 who are participating. Is that the limit? Is that as many people as can play in the NASCAR contest, or can somebody else get in before next year? Oh, yeah, emailer, you don't have to wait till next year. You can get in right now because we have one more segment to go in the contest for this year, and that'll cover the last 4 races of the season. So if you want to get in right now and be number 16, then by all means do so. You don't have to wait. It's wide open. So if you want to send me another email and tell me what name you want to use and make your pick for the next race at Vegas, then feel free to do so. We'd love to have you. This one says, Ken, did you know that the phone's not working? Yeah, I do know that the phone isn't working. I do know, and I wish I could fix it and would if I could. But I just don't think we'll be able to do that tonight. But thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I do appreciate it. This one here says, Ken, I've got a question about fake videos. If somebody does a fake video, can somebody else tell that it's a fake video? I mean, like one done with artificial intelligence. Is it impossible to see the difference between what is real and what is done by artificial intelligence? It's not impossible, emailer. It's also not easy. There are ways that give people who really know what they're doing, there are things that give them a chance to figure out if something is AI. A couple of years ago, they had a really good chance of figuring out if something was AI. This year, their chances are not quite so good because the models keep changing. The AI models keep changing and getting better, and they have to keep uh, improving the detection tools to keep up with the improvements in the models. So it's a hard thing. It is, as I say, it is not impossible. There are a few things that they can do. There are some AI models, certainly not all of them. Some AI models actually include what's called a digital watermark in the video or the image when it's produced. Uh, and in that case, it's pretty easy for somebody to see that it's a fake. But if somebody's really trying to deceive us with an AI video, then they're going to make sure they're going to use something that doesn't put a digital watermark in there. Uh, so you can, one of the ways to do it, and it's a very crude way, but it works. It used to work more often than it works now, is just to closely examine the image. Time was in an AI image, there'd almost be something in there that wasn't quite right. You know, a bad shadow or somebody with 6 fingers on one hand or something. That doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to, so that's not as useful a method as it was. There are statistical applications that they can compare to use to examine the metadata, if they can get at the metadata, and sometimes they can figure it out that way. But I'd say, just right off the top of my head, I'd say right now, if you do a high quality, really high quality AI video and put it out there, um, you'll probably get away with it. I don't know if it's 50-50 or 60-40. I can't say exactly what the probability is. But it's possible that somebody can figure it out, but it's also very possible that they won't be able to figure it out. And that side of the probability table is getting bigger all the time because the AI models are improving by leaps and bounds. So deep fakes, I guess to put it another way, deep fakes are a lot deeper than they used to be. And they've always been pretty deep, and they're even deeper now. So it is tough to do. Emailer says, "Hi, Ken, Mr. Leaksville, give me the number 5 this weekend. It's time to get serious." Well, it's time for me to find my pen, and there it is. So Mr. Leaksville has the 5 for Vegas. That's in the book. By the way, I also heard from Captain Midnight already, and Captain Midnight is taking the 11 for Vegas. So right now we got Charles has the 12, Mr. Leaksville has the 5, Captain Midnight has the 11, Mark has the 20, Early Bird has the 9 for the Vegas race. If you've just joined us, don't bother with the phone. Phone don't work. So we're having the show without the phone tonight. It's emails only. And the email address is keneckleslive@gmail.com. And this one says, "Ken, why don't you fix the phone?" Why don't I fix the phone? If I wasn't on the air and doing this, then you know what I'd do? If I wasn't on the air, I would just shut down the computer and I'd examine everything in there and I would fix the phone. But considering I'm sitting here also reading emails and responding, it's going to be real hard for me to fix the phone because clearly there is some issue beyond the superficial. So that's why I don't fix the phone. Ken, can you explain this new tax deduction that old people get? I don't know if I like the term old people. This new deduction that old people get, that's, I think, like $10,000 more of a deduction when we do our taxes. What is that? Well, this will apply. This is actually in effect right now. This will apply when you do your taxes this coming April, unless you're one of those people who does your taxes this coming January. Whenever you do your taxes for 2025, this applies. If you are 65 or older, 65 or older, and you meet certain income criteria, then you get an additional $6,000 on your standard deduction. And they make a pretty big difference. If you're that's if you're a single filer. If you're a married couple, if you and your spouse are a married couple filing jointly, you each get the $6,000, which gives you an additional standard deduction of $12,000. Now, if you're a single filer, you get this if you make up to $75,000. If your adjusted gross income is up to $75,000, you get the entire deduction. Now, it starts to phase out at $75,000 adjusted gross income up to twice that, $150,000. It disappears entirely if you're over $150,000 in AGI. But if you're under 75,000 in AGI, you get an entire additional $6,000 deduction. And that doesn't replace something else. That is on top of all your existing standard deductions. And again, a married couple filing jointly, the limit, I think, is $125,000 for a married couple filing jointly. It begins to phase out and phases out entirely at $250,000. Now, if you put that all together, of course, you're already getting an extra $2,000 deduction for living to the age of 65. That's already there. If you add up the regular standard deduction and the special deduction for being 65 or older, and then throw in the additional $6,000 deduction, if you're a single filer, your standard deduction, without even itemizing, your standard deduction for 2025 will be $23,750, I think it'll be. And for a married couple filing jointly, your standard deduction for 2025, this is for when you do your taxes next spring, a married couple filing jointly, your standard deduction will be better than $46,000, maybe close to $47,000. And that's just your standard deduction. So for a lot of people, that's going to be an enormous portion of your total income. So that is going to save you some money. Now, there's also been questions about Social Security. Some people were expecting Social Security not to be taxed this year. That didn't happen. Your Social Security benefit is still taxed in the same way that it always was. This additional standard deduction does not make less of your Social Security benefit taxable. So it'll still be taxable. But the money that you save with the additional standard deduction might, if you're lucky, that might actually cover whatever tax you have to pay on your Social Security benefits. So that is what that is all about, that extra $6,000 deduction per person. So enjoy it while it's there. It's based on the current law, that deduction will be in effect through the 2028 tax year. And then, based on current law, it'll go away. But of course, current law has a way of changing in Washington. The law doesn't always stay the same, but it is for sure that you'll have it for the 2025 tax year. And you'll almost certainly have it for 2026, 27, and 28. But You know, Congress, how pesky Congress is about changing laws from time to time. But you've got it now. So that's what really counts. You know, another thing, nobody asked about this, but it's a tax matter for us old folks, is the North Carolina homestead exemption. This is for your property tax. And property tax is sort of interest in Rockingham County right now, since your property taxes have gone up. I don't know how much yours went up. My property taxes went up 50%, and a nice, healthy 50% increase in my property taxes. And chances are you had something similar. If you are, again, wait a minute, I had this written down. Just a second. Make sure I get this right. If you are 65 or older in North Carolina and you make less than $48,000, then you get a break on 1/2 of your property tax. It's called the homestead exemption. And you might want to ask your tax advisor about that. Don't even take my word for anything tax related. Always ask a tax advisor, even though what I'm telling you is right. But I'm not a real tax advisor. So whether it's the homestead exemption or the federal deduction or whatever it is, be sure and consult your tax professional before you file your income taxes. This emailer says, Ken, I'm trying to call. I'm sorry. I'm trying to call and the phone seems to be turned off. The phone is turned off because it's not working. And I wish it was, but it's not. So I've just shut it down. That's why you can't get through when you call. It's emails only tonight, including this one from Mr. NASCAR. Hello, Ken. This is Mr. NASCAR. People may remember me from my first place finish. He has to work that in. People may remember me from my first place finish in the recent segment of the NASCAR contest. So the issue now is, how do I win another segment? Yeah, that's the issue. Here's my pick for Vegas. Hang on. I got to get the great book in front of me here. All right, have the great book. Here is my pick for Las Vegas. Mr. NASCAR, who finished first. Okay, don't be pretty, man. Mr. NASCAR, who finished first in the last segment, is taking the number 12, Ryan Blaney, for Las Vegas. All right, Mr. NASCAR has the 12 for Vegas. I'm sorry, I'm going to be in Michigan the weekend of the Martinsville race, but I hope somebody else will enjoy the tickets. Okay, well, Mr. Draper inherited the tickets, Mr. NASCAR, and I'm sure he will enjoy them. This one says, Ken, I don't know why you don't get better stuff in there. It's all the time that you go on the air and something doesn't work. Well, it's not all the time. Why don't you spend some money? Why don't you spend some money and get some better stuff so you don't have to put up with this? Well, now you've actually put your finger on the problem there when you use the term spend some money. We try to avoid, at least I do, try to avoid spending money whenever possible. And it's not really necessary. The phone works. We're on, every 50 times we're on the air, the phone works 49 times. So that's not bad. There's just this one night when something ails it. But it doesn't happen all that often. At least the phone doesn't fail all that often, and we apologize for it. I'm also psychic. I don't know if I've mentioned this. I do have certain psychic abilities. So you can email, of course, as some people are doing, or you can also, if you really concentrate, maybe put your hand on your forehead and really concentrate and send me a psychic message. Perhaps I would be able to psychically receive your questions and comments. That's I admit that's kind of hit and miss, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to give it a try, would it? Ken, did you find out any more? You said you were going to look it up and find out some more about this thing where you can go to the drug company and buy medicine straight from the drug company and get a big discount on that. What else did you find out about that? Well, I found out a little bit. I went to the Pfizer website. Pfizer's been in the news, obviously, for that these last few days. I went to the Pfizer website and I looked up all they had to say about that. And the thing that really jumped out at me, and I'll start with this one. The thing that really jumped out at me on the Pfizer website was a little sentence. They were talking about Pfizer's agreement with the government. And there's a line in there that says, details of the agreement are confidential, which you never like to see that. When somebody makes a deal with the government and then they tell you that the details of the deal are confidential, and we cannot see them, that always makes me a little bit uncomfortable, because you wonder what's in there that they don't want us to see. I think it's a fair question. So anyway, there's a lot we don't know because details of the deal are confidential. But here's what we do know. Pfizer says that it will make most, that's the term, most of their medicines available on a cash basis, and set up a system so that people who just want to pay cash and buy straight from the company can go to their website, or you can go to trumprx.gov and it will refer you to the Pfizer website. You can go to their website and just pay cash and pay less than the list price of the medicine. Beyond that, details are confidential. They don't put up a list of all the medicines that will be available. I assume they will sooner or later. I don't know how they could run it unless they put up a list of the medicines that are involved. But that's not there yet. They also don't tell us how much we can save by buying this, by becoming cash customers of Pfizer rather than going through an insurance company. They also don't tell us, I guess this is confidential too, they also don't tell us whether we will be able to buy directly from Pfizer and also have our insurance covered. There is another website that I found out has been out there since 2022. It's been out there for 3 years that does the very same thing. It's called costplusdrugs.com. And what you do there, you get the drugs, presumably, this is what they say, you get the drugs directly from the company at cost plus some percentage, 15%, 20%. Probably the percentage varies from drug to drug. But I didn't even know that was there, to tell you the truth, until I started looking into this. But this place, pluscostdrugs.com. Now they have a long list of medicines that are included. And I don't know how many drug companies they have deals with, but apparently it's quite a few because there are a whole lot of drugs listed on there. And they show you the list price of the drug, And then they show you the cash price of the drug. And you can just put that amount of cash on the barrelhead and get the medicine directly from the company. At least that's what it says. I didn't buy anything, but that's what it says. But while I was there, since I was there anyway, if I can find it, I went to the trouble of getting a list of some of the prices, if I can find it. I don't keep a really neat room in here, so it's not always easy to find stuff. Here it is. I got a list of drugs on this website, Plus Cost Drugs, that gives the list price and then gives what you can buy it for straight from the company. And some of it's pretty impressive. I looked at migraine medicine. Since I have migraine, my attention was sort of drawn to migraine treatments. And here's one called Cambia. If you have migraine, maybe you use Cambia, and maybe you've heard of it. The list price for Cambia, this is for 1 carton of packets, the list price, $896. That's the list price. The cash price, if you buy it straight from the company, $102.75, a difference of $793, which is not chicken feed. And here's a real impressive one. Another migraine remedy. It's called Migranol. These are generics, by the way. The first one I mentioned is the generic form of Cambia. This one is the generic form of Migranol. The list price, if you use this, maybe this will sound familiar to you. The list price, $3,835. The cash price, direct from the company, $292.21. You save $3,542. Sounds too good to be true? I don't know. As I say, I didn't buy anything, but that's what's on the website at pluscostdrugs.com. Now, the other thing here that you learn at Plus Cost Drugs, apparently their deal is not confidential because it's all right out there in the open. The other thing you find out here is if you have, for example, if you're on Medicare, or if you have a good health insurance plan with a fairly low deductible, by and large, you're already paying less than you would pay if you just buy cash straight from the drug company. There would be exceptions to that, but in the long run, they say, you're actually better off using your insurance, if you have good insurance, than buying straight from the drug company. If you don't have good insurance, or if you have no insurance at all, then buying straight from the drug company could be very interesting to you and could possibly save you a lot of money. Anyway, that's what I found out about all of that. And then there's another website that I saw that I didn't know about called americasmedicines.com. And that evidently is a new one. That is another one where some collection of drug companies is going online, and they're going to begin giving you an opportunity to buy straight from them at a cash price, which in almost every case is a lot lower than the list price. So if you take prescriptions, and chances are most of you do, you might jot those things down, pluscostdrugs.com, americasmedicines.com. Take a look. There might be something there that would be of some use to you. And then there's always the Pfizer thing, even though details of their agreement are confidential. The Pfizer thing will be coming along at some point, and there might be some opportunity for you to save some money there as well. So, yeah, I did find out a little bit about that. Um, and as I say, I didn't really attempt to buy anything, but maybe I will give buying something a try at some point and just see how that works out. Ken, I'm listening to all you're saying about this list price and cash price of drugs and all of that. How come the government just just does not go to these drug companies and say, all right, here is what you have to do. You put a drug on the market and you set a price for it, and everybody pays the same price everywhere, and they don't have to shop around, and they don't have to beg their insurance companies for coverage, and they don't have to do any of that stuff. Why doesn't the government just tell them to set a price, and that's the price for everybody? Uh, well, I doubt that the government. I mean, I know right now, as of right now, under law, the government does not have the authority to dictate a price to drug companies, which are private enterprises. Somebody, I guess somebody could introduce a law in Congress and see if it would pass. And if it passed, see if the drug companies would challenge it in court. And if they do, see if they'd win or not. But certainly as it stands right now, the government cannot do that. The government does not have the authority to do that. And there are a lot of people who would argue that it's not a good idea anyway, especially the presidents of the drug companies would argue that it's not a good idea anyway, because by doing that, we would do things like stifle research and development and retard the development of new miracle cures and all that. So, no, the government is not likely to do that. um, we've tried price controls before. You may not have been around long enough to remember when President Nixon came up with the idea in 1970 or 71, somewhere around there, of controlling inflation by simply enacting wage and price controls and telling companies what they had to charge uh, for things and telling companies how much they had to pay their employees for things. Wage and price controls didn't work, needless to say. If you're wondering how extremely it didn't work, just go to your favorite AI sometime and say, "Tell me about President Nixon's wage and price controls." Then you will see the sad and sorry litany of the number of ways that just did not work. And I think history has told us, if it hasn't told us, it's at least suggested to us that sometimes when the government gets involved to that extent in private business, it doesn't get the result that it was hoping for. Let's see, this one says, it's one of those weird ones. I'm gonna have to let that one go. All right. This one says, Ken, how come you're not taking phone calls tonight? I just turned on the show and I cannot call through. What's up? Well, I guess the question of what's down. What's down is the telephone. Emailer, I'm sorry, not taking calls tonight because the telephone has failed us. Or maybe we failed the phone. Who can say? Talking about drug prices, I keep hearing about these things called pharmacy benefit managers. And the drug maker says that these guys are driving up the price for everybody. How do they do that? And what is it that they are doing? Well, that's kind of complicated. pharmacy benefit managers are companies that are they are the middlemen between the drug company and the pharmacy. There's AstraZeneca up there, and there's CVS or Rite Aid down here, and in between there's a pharmacy benefit manager that does something. Uh, I have to say, I'm not even entirely certain exactly what they do. As best I understand it, and the drug company sells basically at list price. The drug company sells the drugs or makes a contract, enters into a contract with the pharmacy benefit manager. The pharmacy benefit manager then represents the drug company to the insurance companies and the pharmacies. So the pharmacy benefit manager, to oversimplify, gets the drugs from the drug company and then moves them on to the pharmacy with also a nod to the insurance company. The bottom line is the drugs leave the drug company at the list price, like $800 or $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever it is. So they go to the pharmacy benefit manager. The drug company then gives the pharmacy benefit manager a rebate off the list price. The drug's $8,000. The company might give the pharmacy benefit manager a rebate of what? $4,000 in exchange for the pharmacy benefit manager's assistance in giving the drug. I know this sounds crazy, but I think this is what they do. The pharmacy benefit manager's assistance in giving the drug a prominent spot in the insurance company's formulary. That is where the drug is listed when you look at your insurance company and you look at your drug benefit and you see what's there. The pharmacy benefit manager makes sure, depending on how much of a rebate they get from the drug company, they make sure that this drug is in a really good spot on the formulary where you'll be likely to see it. And then theoretically, the pharmacy benefit manager then is supposed to share that rebate with the pharmacy, so that when the pharmacy sells you the drug, it can sell you the drug for less because it's already gotten some nice money in the form of the rebate, the portion of the rebate passed on from the pharmacy benefit manager. And here's what the drug companies say, well, the pharmacy benefit managers are messing everything up because they're not passing on the rebates to the drug stores. If they would just pass on the rebates to the drug stores, then drugs wouldn't cost so much and everybody would be happy. We, the drug companies, would be making money hand over fist. The pharmacy benefit managers would be making pretty well with their part of the rebate. And then the drug stores would get the rest of the rebate and sell very cheaply to you, the public. That would be a great way, but it doesn't work that way. I don't know why it doesn't work that way. The drug companies say it's because the pharmacy benefit managers are greedy and are mishandling the rebates. So I don't know. You can take your pick as to who you believe on that. But that's what those PBMs are. They are sort of in the music industry. And, I came from radio. So I can draw this example. The music industry is just as sleazy as the drug industry, if not more sleazy. And the music industry used to have these things called independent promoters, and they'd be in the middle. And they'd get a ton of money from the music industry to get their songs played on radio. But we're going far afield now. The bottom line is there's a middleman in the process, and the middleman is the pharmacy benefit manager. And the drug companies say they shouldn't be there. But it raises an interesting question. Uh, if the drug companies don't like the pharmacy benefit manager, why don't they just sell straight to the pharmacies and give the pharmacies the rebate and then let them pass the rebate on to us? I don't know why they're required to go through the middleman, to tell you the truth. But they are, or at least they do. So, wow, that's a lot about drugs and pharmacies and prices. But it's important because we all got to pay it, and it all comes out of all of our pockets. And we are constantly trying to figure out how it works. So there we are. Hello, Ken. This is the lady in black. I'm at the opposite end from Mr. NASCAR. I finished 15th. Yeah, you did. I want to change my pick for Vegas. Okay, hang on a second. Let's see. Well, lady, you can't change your pick. You haven't made a pick for Vegas yet. Apparently she thought she did. I want to change my pick for Vegas to the number 19. Okay. Lady in black takes the 19 for Vegas. Now, who we got so far? Mr. NASCAR has the 12. Charles has the 12. Mr. Leaksville has the 5. Captain Midnight has the 11. Mark from Mayodan has the 20. Lady in Black has the 19. Early Bird has the 9. So those are the picks for Vegas so far. I will probably not be here tomorrow night. I have a personal issue. And I probably won't be here tomorrow night. If you've not made your pick for Vegas yet, go ahead and email it as you normally would. Or if you want to call the phone number, the phone, we don't like the phone right now, but it will work again. In fact, even what happened tonight would not stop you from calling the phone number and leaving a voice message telling me who you want to pick for Vegas. So either do that or do email, or sometimes some of you see me on the street. Sometimes you see me out there somewhere, just stop and tell me who you want to take for Vegas. I apologize for not being able to take your phone calls tonight. Believe me, I wanted to use the phone just as much as you did. Sorry we couldn't do it, but it'll get well. We're on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays most of the time. Hope you'll join us for our next show. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Echols.